What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have some Detroit Lions news. The Lions have brought in a player for a workout that's had some issues in the past, but some of those may be cleaned up because of new NFL rules, but he's very talented, so let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. And today we're here to talk about defensive lineman David Irving, who the Detroit Lions have brought in for a workout. Earlier this week, the Indianapolis Colts also brought in David Irving for a workout, as he can be signed at any time because he was on a practice squad to end last season. So he could be signed whenever. And the Lions just brought him in for a workout as they are looking for some talent on that defensive line. And we'll talk about why in a little bit later in this video. But let's talk about who David Irving is first. A lot of you guys may know who this is. And like I said, he's had some off-the-field issues. That's probably what he's most well known for, which is not a good thing. But he's extremely talented from what I've seen. From what I've watched of him and from what I know about him, this guy is really talented. He's just had some issues that's kept him off the field. He's also had some injuries that he's had to deal with as well. Different parts of his body that have been injured, so he's missed some time because of that, like concussions, high ankle sprains. So some of that is also the reason he's missed some games. But he's a 27-year-old defensive lineman that in high school played defensive tackle and tight end. Then he went to college at Iowa State. And as a junior at Iowa State, he switched to defensive end. He can play both spots. He's done both in the NFL. But 2014 at Iowa State, his last year there, unfortunately, he was suspended. He didn't get to play in his last year for Iowa State because he was caught. There was a picture taken of him. It was in a riot at one of the festivals in Iowa State. He was holding a stop sign. The dude is holding a stop sign, all right, walking around. That's illegal. Like, you can't pull a stop sign out of the ground. I don't know if he pulled it out. I mean, if he pulled it out of the ground. I mean, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. He's a big dude. He literally is walking around with a stop sign. I'm just saying. Okay, wow. Why would you do that? I don't know. I don't know the intentions there. He's a young guy. I don't know what he was thinking. In 2014, after, he got in trouble for carrying the stop sign around, he was arrested for that. He said the first person he saw was his coach. His coach kicked him off the team, which he said was expected. And then we know he got the opportunity with the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a really tough time. And you can see David Irving says here that basically he knew that he had some issues in his past, but he kind of wanted to put that behind him and move forward. So he heads into the NFL in 2015 as an undrafted free agent for Kansas City. Now, Kansas City didn't see much use with him, I guess, because they decided to waive him pretty shortly after. And the Dallas Cowboys gave him an opportunity. Dallas Cowboys said, you know what? We're going to try you out. We're going to see what you can do. And he impressed so much in practice when he was signed to the practice squad. He eventually got some opportunities on the field, and he had 14 pressures in that time. That moves us to 2016, where he got to play in more games this season. He was ejected from one game against the Cleveland Browns, but hey, players have been ejected before. I mean, yeah, that's not a good thing, but I've seen a lot of players get, heck, Jimmy Collins got ejected for putting his helmet on a referee. Like, what? That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't even, he was like, and he ejected. You gotta remember, that was week 1. That's how he popped off the season. Yes, they got into a little bit of a fight. It was David Irving and the center for the Browns were kind of fighting over that. Now, Skip Bayless called it an overreaction because, Josh Norman's fight, they didn't get thrown out for that game. I don't know. Make of it what you will. They were throwing some punches, so they got thrown out of the game, which makes sense. So they were thrown out of the game in 2016, but he did play most of the season, which is good for him. He get going a little bit, had 17 combined tackles, 4 sacks. I mean, it wasn't crazy stats, but he started going. Actually, one week he was the NFC Player of the Week, so that's pretty cool. So that moves us to 2017, and 2017 is the year that he just balls out. But the issue is he doesn't play in many games. So for the first 4 games this season, he's suspended due to violating the drug policy of the NFL. Also missed the last 4 games this season due to a concussion. So he only played in 8 games in 2017, right? The guy puts up 7 sacks in 2017. He puts up 7 sacks, 19 pressures, and 12 tackles for loss in 8 games. Those are monster stats, nearly a sack a game. And he was still young at the time, so you think, okay, the Cowboys got something going here. He's got to be able to stay on the field, whether that's injuries or just not getting in trouble with the NFL. However, they didn't stop. In 2018, substance abuse missed the first 4 games, once again, where he plays in 2 games, but then all of a sudden he has a high ankle sprain, and he's out again for the rest of the season. So he barely plays in 2018. This is 2019, where he's suspended indefinitely for substance abuse. I mean, it's the same thing over and over. David Irving had an issue with it because it had to do with the marijuana policy. And then the NFL updated their rules on the policy. So I guess there's updated changes with the policy of the marijuana issues where you're not necessarily suspended anymore if you get in trouble for it. You're just fined for it. So he was reinstated into the NFL in 2020, and in October he signed with the Las Vegas Raiders to their practice squad. That's the last we've seen of David Irving. So he can be signed at any time because of that, because he was on the practice squad. But yeah, it's kind of a very interesting past, definitely getting in trouble a lot. But a lot of those things with the substance abuse, the rules have been changed for the most part. So he would just get fined for these issues. He was not happy with it. And, we've heard Calvin Johnson and, certain former players talk about, you're in pain, right? So I'm not sure why he was using it. I'm just saying, that was something that went on. But it's definitely an interesting character, though. There's been some interesting stories that we've heard with him in Dallas. Like, for example, I guess during one practice, he had his nipple ring, he said, pulled off, which sounds awfully painful. Ow! That got pulled off in practice? This coach Rod Marinelli asked, should we go look for it? Yes, Rod, you should go look for his nipple ring, okay? Come on, man. You're just going to let him lose his nipple ring and let him just have one without? What, is he going to have one and not the other? Come on, now that's goofy. That's just weird. You can't have that. Good old Rod, man, of course. Come on, Rod, really? That's not even a question. Go find his nipple ring. This sounds really strange. I don't know why this even happened in the video. David also has this story of basically playing in a rainy game where I guess the rain came through his helmet and it got on his hair and he had hair product in, so it started to get into his eyes. He said he couldn't see anything and he had to come out of the game. All right, I can actually see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. Either way, okay, they changed the rules, so he shouldn't be suspended as much. Maybe he'll get fined a lot, but he shouldn't be suspended as much. He's extremely talented. Now, some of those past issues, getting ejected, getting in a fight, I've seen guys get in fights before. You don't love that. But I also know that, the whole stop sign thing, I guess that was just being a college kid, but that was weird. I don't know why you would pull a stop sign out of the ground. Either way, this is what it's going to come down to. Okay, what do they take away from his personality? What does Dan Campbell and those guys, when they work him out, what do they take away from this guy's personality for meeting him? So why would the Lions be interested in a guy like David Irving? Well, he is ridiculously talented. He's just really talented, and he's 6'7", 290 pounds. That can play defensive tackle. And when you look at the Lions defense right now, he played in a 4-3 defense with Dallas. I'm telling you, I think that's what we're going to look a lot like in 2021. But look at the Lions defense line. Sit there at a 4-3 defense, right? What does that look like for us? Well, there's a really good chance that Danny Shelton and Nick Williams are cut, or at least one of the two. They both could be cut. We'll see. If Shelton doesn't fit the scheme, Nick Williams saves you $4 million with basically no dead cap. There's a good chance that maybe both of them are gone. And even if just one of them are gone, whatever it may be, you got to have some defensive tackle help. You need someone on the defensive line. Plus, you can play defensive end, so if you need that, you can, right? If you want to bump Trey Flowers in and push him out, you could do that. But you also don't really have a pass rushing defensive tackle right now. You don't really have that. Nick was kind of supposed to be that. I thought Jayshon Cornell could do that a little bit as well, but he didn't get to play it all last year. I haven't even seen him on the field. Lions need pass rushing DTs if they're going to go to a 4-3. And this is what David Irving could give you. Now, the Lions got a lot of holes to fill, but if you brought in Irving, it'd probably be a pretty cheap contract. It would save you a draft pick. It'd save you big money in free agency, and it's just because of the weird history. But now that the rules have changed, if you're willing to give him an opportunity, if he can stay on the field, he is tough. They call him freakish. He's extremely athletic. This guy's running down screenplays. He's really tough to handle for interior offensive linemen. At DTs, he almost reminds you a little bit of Gregory Rousseau, a little bit more polished than Gregory Rousseau, right? Because he's got the crazy size, and what they would do with Rousseau is they throw him inside the defense line. Rousseau's got a long way to go. He doesn't really have any pass rush moves. If they're going to a 4-3 front, they really don't have any pass rushing DTs. That's why they could be interested. Now, they also may not be interested with all the pass things, but they gave him a workout. They gave him an opportunity to see what he could do. So if he impresses at workouts, which he did back at Dallas, I don't know how he's doing now, because he's been out of it just a little bit. But if he's impressing at workouts, which is potentially possible, and the Lions want to give him a shot, they could give him a shot. If not, if they're like, okay, hey, yeah, we didn't really get a good vibe from this guy, we don't want to go this route, that's fine. But it does make sense to bring him in for a workout. So we'll see. I know there's a trouble past year, but, we'll see what the Lions decide to do with it. We'll see what the Lions decide to do. Either way, he's a very talented player. And, his middle name is Jurod. Thought that was cool. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.